The founder thought the deal was finished. The demonstrations were complete. Pricing had been accepted. The customer was preparing to purchase nearly $100,000 in software. Then the enterprise security team asked one question. Can you show us how your company governs employee and vendor use of artificial intelligence? The founder had no answer. Startups are adopting AI faster than they are governing it. That gap can remain invisible until a major customer starts asking questions. In this video, I'll show you how an innocent productivity decision can threaten an enterprise deal, what the customer is actually worried about, and the 5 controls a startup should put in place before its next security review. Imagine a growing healthcare technology startup. It has 12 employees, a strong product, and its first serious enterprise prospect. The prospective customer likes the demonstration. The product solves a real problem, and the commercial terms work for both sides. For the founder, this is more than another sale. It is the customer logo that could establish credibility, attract investors, and open the door to larger healthcare contracts. The startup has spent months getting to this point. From the founder's perspective, the difficult work is over. From the enterprise customer's perspective, the risk review is just beginning. The startup never formally approved artificial intelligence. It never formally prohibited it either. Employees simply began using the tools available to them. Sales used AI to improve proposals. Marketing used it to draft website copy. Engineering used coding assistance. Human resources used a public chatbot to summarize resumes and prepare interview questions. Customer support occasionally pasted portions of customer conversations into an AI tool to improve responses. Nobody was trying to steal information. Nobody believed they were creating a security incident. They were trying to work faster. But the startup had no approved tool list, no acceptable use policy, no employee training, no AI vendor review, and no reliable record of what data had been entered into which systems. Then the customer sent its security and privacy questionnaire. The questions were not limited to firewalls, passwords, or penetration testing. The customer wanted to know, which AI systems does the startup use? Can employees enter customer information into public AI tools? Are AI vendors permitted to retain prompts or use customer data for model training? Has the startup assessed the security and privacy practices of those vendors? Can the startup identify where regulated or confidential information flows? Does it have a process for reviewing new AI use cases? The founder sent the questionnaire to the team. The answers came back differently from every department. The company did not have a technology problem. It had a governance problem. The founder sees a small company moving quickly. The enterprise CISO sees unmanaged applications and unknown data flows. The privacy leader sees employee, applicant, and customer information potentially moving outside approved systems. The procurement team sees vendors that may never have been reviewed. Legal sees unclear contract terms involving retention, confidentiality, subcontractors, and model training. The customer is not asking whether the startup uses AI. It is asking whether the startup can control its own environment. That is a much larger question. The customer does not immediately cancel the deal. It places the purchase on hold. The startup must now respond to additional questions, document its AI use, review vendor contracts, investigate whether confidential information was entered into unapproved systems, and create policies that should have existed before the review began. Sales slows down, legal costs increase, employees are pulled away from product development. The customer begins questioning whether other controls are also missing. The $100,000 problem is not necessarily a regulatory fine. It is delayed revenue, expensive remediation, consumed leadership time, and damaged trust. This outcome was preventable. A startup does not need a 50-person compliance department. It needs a small number of defensible controls. First, create an approved AI tool list. Employees should know which systems they may use, which use cases are permitted, and which tools are prohibited until reviewed. Second, create a practical AI acceptable use policy. It should clearly prohibit entering protected health information, personal data, credentials, confidential customer information, proprietary code, or sensitive contracts into unapproved tools. Third, review AI vendors before adoption. Examine retention, model training rights, security controls, subprocessors, access, deletion, incident notification, and contractual protections. Fourth, train employees with realistic scenarios. Do not give them a 40-slide legal presentation. Show them what they may enter, what they must never enter, and who to contact when they are uncertain. Fifth, maintain an AI use inventory and assign ownership. Record the tool, business purpose, owner, information involved, vendor review status, approval decision, and next review date. Somebody must have authority to pause a use case that creates unacceptable risk. These controls will not eliminate every AI risk. They will demonstrate that the startup recognizes the risk, makes intentional decisions, and can explain those decisions to a customer. The startup documents its tools, restricts high-risk uses, reviews its vendors, trains its employees, and assigns an executive owner. It sends the customer evidence instead of promises. The review resumes. The important lesson is not that startups must avoid AI. It is that speed without governance eventually creates friction. The company believed governance would slow the sale. The absence of governance was what slowed it. If your largest prospective customer sent you an AI governance questionnaire tomorrow, could your company answer it consistently and prove the answers? Tell me in the comments which control would be the hardest for your organization to implement. Subscribe to AI Privacy Advisors. Every week, I break down one founder mistake that can threaten customer trust, enterprise sales, and company growth.